Ambassador Ye Jin walked slowly through the grand halls of the Coalition Center. Her simple brown dress and nervous smile made her look like a scared farm girl. The other ambassadors barely looked at her as she passed. To them, she was nothing more than a representative from a backward planet that grew food. Earth delegate called Ambassador Crixtal, his blue scales shining under the bright lights. Still playing with dirt and crops, I assume. Ye Jin bowed her head low. Yes, honored Crixtal. Our people work hard in the fields. We are grateful for the Coalition's protection. The tall alien laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. Protection you desperately need. Your species can barely fly between your own planets. Other ambassadors joined in the laughter. They all knew about Earth. A small blue world with simple creatures who had only learned to travel in space 50 years ago. Their ships were slow and weak. Their weapons were primitive. They spent most of their time growing food and making art. Ye Jin nodded and smiled weakly. We know we are not advanced like your great civilizations, but deep in space, far from the Coalition Center, Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the battleship Thunder of Seoul. Around him, holographic displays showed thousands of ships hidden throughout the solar system. Each ship was larger and more powerful than anything the Coalition had ever built. Status report, Hyunwoo said quietly. Captain Jae-sung stepped forward. All fleets remain hidden, Admiral. The Luna shipyards completed another 50 destroyers this week. The Jupiter fleet now has 800 heavy cruisers ready for combat. Hyunwoo nodded. For 50 years, humanity had played the role of peaceful farmers. They let alien scouts see their small cities and simple farms. They showed them old rockets and basic computers. But they never showed them the real Earth. Hidden on the dark side of the moon, massive factories built warships day and night. Deep in the asteroid belt, mining stations extracted materials for weapons that could destroy entire fleets. On Mars, scientists worked on technology that made alien science look like toys. Dr. Eunji entered the bridge, carrying a datapad. She was the first human to meet the aliens, and she had learned their languages and customs. But more importantly, she had learned their weaknesses. The biological weapon tests are complete, she reported. The Vaktar Empire's silicon-based biology makes them very vulnerable to our new toxins. Their ships also have poor shielding against electromagnetic pulses. Good, Hyunwoo said. And the other species? The Zephyrians rely too much on their computer systems. A simple virus could shut down their entire fleet. The crystalline hive cannot function in high radiation environments. We have weapons for each of them. This was humanity's greatest secret. For 50 years, they had studied every alien species in the Coalition. They knew how they thought, how they fought, and how to defeat them. While the aliens laughed at human primitiveness, human scientists were building the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Back at the Coalition Center, Ye Jin sat in the Great Assembly Hall. Around her, representatives from 847 worlds discussed galactic politics. Today's topic made her stomach feel sick. The Vaktar Empire requests permission to annex the Sol system, announced the speaker, a floating jellyfish-like creature. They claim the humans need better guidance and protection. Ambassador Vexthor of the Vaktar Empire stood up. He was 7 feet tall with gray skin and red eyes. The humans are like children, he said in his deep voice. They cannot protect themselves. Their planet produces excellent food, but they waste it with poor management. Under Vaktar rule, Earth's agricultural output could feed 10 billion Vaktar citizens. Ye Jin stood up slowly. Honored members of the Coalition, my people wish to remain independent. We may be simple, but we are happy with our way of life. Laughter filled the hall. Ambassador Crixtal spoke for many when he said, Child, your happiness matters little. The galaxy needs Earth's resources. The Vaktar will treat your people well as long as you obey. But our freedom, Ye Jin started. Freedom? Vexthor's red eyes glowed brighter. What freedom do weak creatures need? You will have food, shelter, and protection. That is more than your primitive species deserves. The vote was swift and brutal. 712 worlds voted to give Earth to the Vaktar Empire. Only 35 voted against it. Earth was now property of the most aggressive military force in the known galaxy. Ye Jin sat down heavily, tears in her eyes. But these were not tears of sadness. They were tears of anger. For 50 years she had listened to aliens mock her people. She had smiled and nodded while they planned to enslave humanity. But now the game was over. She touched a small device hidden in her dress. Across the galaxy, Admiral Hyunwoo received a simple message. The masquerade is complete. Begin Protocol Lazarus. On Earth, President Jin-A stood before the United Nations. Her face was serious as she spoke to the world. Fellow humans, today the Galactic Coalition voted to give our world to the Vaktar Empire. They believe we are weak and helpless. They think we cannot resist. She paused, letting her words sink in. It is time to show them how wrong they are. Across the planet, hidden military bases came to life. Soldiers who had trained in secret for decades prepared for war. Ships that had been disguised as space stations revealed their true nature. Weapons that could crack planets powered up for the first time. In the asteroid belt, engineer Tae-min watched as the mining stations transformed. Massive guns emerged from what looked like simple rock processors. Engines that could push asteroids suddenly showed they could also push battleships faster than light itself. 50 years of hiding, he said to his crew. 50 years of pretending to be weak. But we were never weak. We were just patient. The Vaktar Empire had no idea what was coming. They saw Earth as a prize to be taken easily. They expected frightened farmers and artists who would beg for mercy. Instead, they were about to face 12,000 warships commanded by the most cunning military minds in the galaxy. Admiral Hyun-woo looked out at the stars. Soon those stars would be filled with the light of human weapons. The aliens thought Earth would stay quiet and accept slavery. They were about to learn how loud humans could roar. 3 days after the coalition vote, the Vaktar fleet arrived at Earth. 200 massive warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel just outside the solar system. Each ship was a kilometer long, covered in weapons and armor that could destroy cities. Battle Commodore Thexra stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Fist. He was typical of his species. Tall, gray-skinned, with 4 arms and red eyes that glowed when he was angry. Right now those eyes burned bright with excitement. Begin scanning the human world, he ordered his crew. I want to know exactly what pathetic defenses they have. The scan results made him laugh. Earth had about 50 small space stations around the planet. They appeared to be research facilities or communication relays. The humans had maybe 200 ships in their entire fleet, and most of those looked like cargo vessels. This will be easier than I thought, Thexra said. Open communication channels to the human world. On Earth, President Jin-A sat in the emergency command center deep beneath the Korean mountains. Around her, General Do-hyun and his staff monitored the alien fleet. Every human military leader on the planet was connected to this room. The Vaktar are broadcasting on all frequencies, reported Communications Officer Min-ho. They want to speak to our leaders. Put them through, Jin-A said. She had practiced this moment for years. Thexra's ugly face appeared on screens around the world. His voice was deep and threatening. Primitive humans of Earth, I am Battle Commodore Thexra of the Vaktar Empire. Your pathetic coalition has given us your world. You have 72 hours to surrender completely. All military forces must power down. All government leaders must report to my ships for processing. Jeannie stood up slowly, looking scared and weak. Great Battle Commodore, we are a peaceful people. We do not want war, but we also do not want to be slaves. Thexra laughed, a harsh sound that echoed across Earth. You have no choice, little human. Look at your defenses. You have toys compared to our mighty fleet. Resist us and we will turn your cities to ash. Surrender and most of your people will live to serve the Empire. We need time to discuss this with our governments, Jin-A said, her voice shaking. 72 hours, Thexra repeated. Then we begin landing operations. Do not make us destroy you, humans. It would be wasteful. The transmission ended. For a moment, the command center was silent. Then General Do-hyun smiled. He actually believes we're helpless, the general said. Perfect, Jin-A nodded. Begin Protocol Lazarus. Send the activation codes to all hidden fleets. Across the solar system, humanity's true military force began to wake up. On the moon's dark side, Admiral Sung-ho received his orders. The Luna Defense Wing had been hidden for 40 years, disguised as mining operations and research stations. All ships, begin power-up sequence, he commanded. Prepare for combat operations. 2,000 ships that had pretended to be asteroids suddenly came to life. Their hulls opened to reveal massive weapons. Their engines, more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen, began to glow with power. Near Jupiter, Captain Mi-kyung commanded the largest hidden fleet. 3,000 warships had been built in the gas giant's shadow, using materials from the planet's moons. Each ship was equipped with technology that Earth had developed in secret. The Vaktar have no idea what's coming, she told her crew. They think we're farmers with old rockets. Time to teach them about human engineering. In the asteroid belt, Commander Wu Jin prepared his strike force. 1,000 ships designed to look like mining stations revealed their true nature. These vessels carried the most dangerous weapons humanity had ever built. But the most important activation happened on a small ship drifting near Mars. Captain So Young commanded, the stealth vessel Silent Wind. This ship was humanity's greatest technological achievement, completely invisible to alien sensors, faster than any known spacecraft, and armed with weapons that could destroy vessels 10 times its size. Time to introduce ourselves, So Young said to her small crew. Set course for the Vaktar flagship. On Earth, the world's leaders held emergency meetings. To outside observers, they looked panicked and confused. News broadcasts showed frightened citizens and government officials arguing about whether to surrender. But this was all an act. Every human on Earth knew about the hidden fleets. Every child had been taught that someday the aliens might try to enslave humanity. For 50 years, Earth had prepared for this moment. Dr. Yunji worked frantically in her laboratory. She had spent decades studying alien biology. Not to help them, but to find ways to defeat them. Her biological weapons could kill Vaktar soldiers in minutes. Her computer viruses could shut down their ships. Release the nanobots, she ordered her assistants. I want every Vaktar ship infected within 6 hours. Invisible microscopic robots launched from hidden facilities on Earth's moon. They would attach to the alien ships and begin sabotaging their systems. The Vaktar would never know what hit them. Engineer Tai Min made final preparations to the quantum drive systems. This technology allowed human ships to move faster than light in ways the aliens couldn't understand. While Vaktar ships needed hours to travel between planets, human vessels could do it in minutes. All drive systems are ready, he reported to Admiral Hyunwoo. We can have the entire fleet in Earth orbit in 30 minutes. Not yet, the Admiral replied. Let them get closer. Let them think they're winning. As the 72 hours passed, Thexra grew more confident. Human broadcasts showed chaos and fear. Their leaders seemed unable to decide whether to fight or surrender. Their military looked pathetic. Begin the attack, Thexra finally ordered. Target their largest cities first. Show them what happens to those who resist the Empire. The Vaktar fleet moved toward Earth, their weapons charged, ready to destroy human civilization. Thexra imagined the easy victory ahead. The humans would beg for mercy. The Empire would gain a new slave world. His superiors would reward him greatly. But as his ships approached Earth's moon, something strange happened. The Silent Wind materialized directly behind his flagship, appearing from nowhere like a ghost. Impossible, whispered his sensor officer. Sir, there's a ship behind us. It wasn't there a second ago. Thexra turned to look at the display. A small human vessel no bigger than a fighter craft hung in space behind his massive flagship. It made no threatening moves. It just waited. One little ship? Thexra laughed. Destroy it. Before his weapons could fire, the human ship sent a message. Captain So Young's voice came through clearly, speaking perfect Vaktar language. Battle Commodore Thexra, this is Captain So Young of the Earth Defense Force. You have 30 seconds to withdraw your fleet and leave our solar system. This is your only warning. The Vaktar bridge crew burst into laughter. One tiny ship threatening their entire fleet? It was the funniest thing they had ever heard. Little human, Thexra replied. You must be insane. One ship against 200? We will crush you like an insect. So Young's voice remained calm. 20 seconds, Battle Commodore. Thexra had enough of this game. Fire all weapons. Destroy that annoying gnat. But as his ships turned their guns toward the Silent Wind, the small vessel simply vanished again. For a moment, nothing happened. Then 3 of Thexra's heavy cruisers exploded in brilliant flashes of light. What just happened? Thexra shouted. Where did those weapons come from? His sensor officer's voice shook with fear. Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout the solar system. There are ships everywhere. Thousands of them. Thexra's red eyes went wide with shock. On his displays, the empty space around Earth suddenly filled with warships. Not dozens or hundreds, but thousands upon thousands, each one larger and more advanced than his own vessels. Impossible, he whispered. Where did they come from? The space around Earth transformed in seconds. What had been empty darkness suddenly blazed with the lights of 12,000 human warships. They appeared from behind asteroids, from the shadows of planets, and from seemingly empty space itself. Battle Commodore Thexra stared at his displays in disbelief. His 200 ships, which had seemed so powerful just moments before, now looked like toys floating among giants. Every human vessel was larger than his flagship. Their weapons glowed with energy he had never seen before. "This is impossible," he whispered. "The humans are primitives. They can barely fly between their own moons." Admiral Hyunwoo's voice came through every Vaktar communication system. He spoke in perfect Vaktar, his tone calm and deadly. "Battle Commodore Thexera, you are surrounded by the Earth Defense Force. You have 10 minutes to surrender your fleet. Any ship that attempts to flee will be destroyed." Thexera's 4 arms shook with rage and fear. "How did you hide all these ships?" "Our sensors showed nothing." "Your sensors are 50 years behind our technology," Hyunwoo replied. "We've been watching you since you entered our solar system. We know exactly how many ships you have, what weapons you carry, and how fast you can move. You never had a chance." From the Luna Defense Wing, Admiral Sung-ho commanded 2,000 vessels hidden behind the moon. His ships had stealth technology that made them invisible to alien sensors. For 40 years, they had watched alien scouts visit Earth, never knowing that humanity was watching them back. "All Luna ships prepare for battle," Sung-ho ordered. "Target their engines first. I want them helpless, not dead." The human ships moved with precision that amazed and terrified the Vaktar. They flew in perfect formations, their movements coordinated like a single organism. This was not the chaotic behavior of a primitive species. This was the disciplined action of a military force that had trained for decades. Captain Mi Kyung led the Jupiter garrison fleet into position. 3,000 ships that had been built in secret, using materials from the gas giant's moons. Each vessel carried weapons that could punch through Vaktar armor like it was paper. "Remember," she told her captains, "we want prisoners, not corpses. These aliens need to tell their empire what happened here." Engineer Taemin's quantum drive systems allowed human ships to move in ways that defied alien understanding of physics. Vaktar vessels needed hours to travel between planets. Human ships could teleport across the solar system in minutes. "Quantum drives at full power," Taemin reported from his command ship. "All vessels can jump to any location instantly." But it was Dr. Yoonji's biological weapons that truly shocked the Vaktar. The nanobots she had released hours earlier had infected every alien ship. Now they began their work. Inside Thexera's flagship, crew members suddenly collapsed. Their silicon-based biology was being attacked by microscopic machines designed specifically to kill Vaktar. The toxins spread through their air systems, targeting their unique body chemistry. "Medical emergency on all decks, we," reported Thexera's first officer. "Half the crew is unconscious. The rest are having trouble breathing." "Impossible," Thexera gasped, feeling his own strength fading. "How did they poison us?" "We never left our ships." Admiral Hyunwoo's voice answered his question. "Dr. Yoonji, our chief scientist, has studied Vaktar biology for 50 years. Your people are silicon-based. Our nanobots are specifically designed to disrupt your cellular structure. Don't worry, the effect is temporary. You'll recover if you surrender now." Commander Woo Jin led the asteroid belt strike force against the Vaktar rear guard. 1,000 ships that had pretended to be mining stations for decades revealed their true power. These vessels carried the most experimental weapons humanity had developed. "Fire the electromagnetic pulse cannons," Woo Jin ordered. Beams of pure energy struck the Vaktar ships. Their computer systems failed instantly. Their weapons powered down. Their life support systems struggled to function. In seconds, the mighty Vaktar war fleet became helpless metal shells drifting in space. "Sir?" Thexera's sensor officer whispered weakly. "All our systems are failing. The humans have some kind of computer virus in our networks. I can't control anything." This was Dr. Yoonji's second surprise. While studying alien technology, she had discovered that all coalition species used similar computer systems. She had spent decades creating viruses that could shut down any alien ship's computers within minutes. "Your computer cores are now under human control," Admiral Hyunwoo informed the helpless Vaktar. "We can turn off your life support, disable your engines, or open your airlocks. I suggest you listen carefully to my terms." Captain So-young reappeared beside Thexera's flagship in the silent wind. The small stealth ship had destroyed 3 Vaktar cruisers without taking any damage. Now it hung in space like a predator watching wounded prey. "Battle Commodore," So-young said. "You claimed humans were weak. You said we were like children. Would you like to revise that opinion?" Thexera looked around his bridge. His crew was unconscious or dying from the biological weapons. His computers were controlled by human viruses. His ships were surrounded by a fleet 12 times larger than his own. For the first time in his military career, he felt true fear. "What do you want?" he asked weakly. "Simple," Admiral Hyunwoo replied. "You're going to send a message to the Vaktar Empire. You're going to tell them exactly what happened here, and you're going to explain that Earth is not a defenseless farm world." "They won't believe me," Thexra protested. "Then we'll send proof." Captain Jae-sung's reconnaissance ships had been recording everything. The footage showed human vessels appearing from nowhere, weapons that could destroy Vaktar ships in single shots, and technology that made alien science look primitive. "We're going to let one of your ships return home," Hyunwoo continued. "The rest will remain here as our prisoners. Your crew will recover from the nanobots in a few hours, but they'll remember what human weapons can do." Around Earth, the 12,000 human ships moved into defensive positions. This was only part of humanity's true fleet. More ships waited in hidden bases throughout the galaxy. More weapons lay concealed in asteroid belts and space stations that looked abandoned. For 50 years, humanity had played the role of weak farmers while building the most powerful military force in galactic history. They had studied every alien species, learned every weakness, and prepared for every possible attack. "How long have you been planning this?" Thexra asked. "Since the day your scouts first visited Earth," Admiral Hyunwoo replied. "We knew that someday someone would try to enslave us. We decided to be ready." The Battle Commodore's red eyes dimmed as the nanobots affected his nervous system. "You deceived the entire coalition for 50 years? "We learned from the best teachers," Hyunwoo said. "Every alien species that visited Earth showed us something new about galactic politics. You taught us that strength is the only language the galaxy understands, so we became strong." Within 6 hours, the entire Vaktar invasion fleet was captured or destroyed. Not a single human ship was even damaged. The aliens' advanced weapons couldn't penetrate human shields. Their tactics were useless against human strategy. Their technology was primitive compared to human innovation. As promised, Admiral Hyunwoo allowed one Vaktar ship to escape. It carried recordings of the battle and a simple message for the Empire. "Tell your leaders that Earth sends greetings," the message said. "Tell them we look forward to discussing our new relationship, and tell them that any future attacks on human space will be met with the full force of our fleet." The surviving Vaktar ship limped away from Earth, carrying news that would shock the galaxy. The weak, primitive humans had the largest and most advanced military force anyone had ever seen. On Earth, President Jin-A addressed the world once again. This time her voice was strong and confident. "My fellow humans, today we showed the galaxy our true strength. For 50 years we pretended to be weak while building the greatest fleet in known space. Today that patience paid off. Earth is free and it will stay free." Across the planet, humans celebrated their victory. But in the command centers and hidden bases, military leaders knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would soon learn that Earth was no longer a victim. Humanity had become the strongest power in known space, and they were just getting started. The single Vaktar ship that escaped Earth's solar system arrived at the Coalition Center 3 days later. Its hull was scorched from human weapons and its crew was traumatized by what they had witnessed. The ship's captain, a young officer named Vexarun, could barely speak as he delivered his report. "The humans," he whispered to the Coalition Council, "they're not what we thought. They have thousands of ships, weapons we've never seen, technology that makes our fleet look like ancient toys." Ambassador Krixtal laughed from his seat. "Impossible. We've studied Earth for 50 years. They can barely fly between their own planets." "Show them the recordings," Vexarun said, his voice shaking. The holographic display filled with images that silenced the entire assembly. 12,000 human warships appearing from nowhere. Vaktar cruisers exploding from single shots. Battle Commodore Thexra's mighty fleet helpless and captured within hours. The hall erupted in shocked whispers and fearful conversations. Species that had dismissed Earth as a primitive world suddenly realized they had been deceived for half a century. "This must be fake," insisted Ambassador Tulvar of the Crystal Alliance. "Humans are peaceful farmers. They make art and grow food." Captain Jae-sung's voice came through the recording, speaking perfect crystal language. "Ambassador Tulvar, we know you're watching this." "Yes, we grow food. We also build weapons that can shatter crystal worlds. Would you like a demonstration?" The Crystal Alliance ambassador's body flickered with nervous light. His species' technology was based on crystalline structures that could be easily disrupted by the right frequency of energy. At the Coalition Center, panic spread through the assembly. If humans could defeat the Vaktar so easily, what else were they capable of? How long had they been watching and learning? What other secrets did Earth hide? Ambassador Ye-Jin walked calmly to the center of the hall. She no longer wore simple brown clothes or acted nervous. Today, she wore the formal dress uniform of the Earth Diplomatic Corps, and her voice carried the authority of a representative from the galaxy's newest superpower. "Honored members of the Coalition," she said, her words clear and confident, "Earth wishes to discuss our membership status." "Your membership status?" sputtered the speaker. "You just destroyed a Coalition fleet." "We defended ourselves against an unprovoked attack," Ye-Jin corrected. "The Vaktar came to enslave our people. We chose to resist. I believe most species would do the same." In the back of the hall, diplomat Hei-Wan took careful notes. She was Earth's new chief negotiator, and her job was to reshape humanity's relationship with every species in the galaxy. For 50 years, she had studied coalition politics while pretending to be a simple cultural attaché. "The vote to give Earth to the Vaktar was illegal," Hei-Wan announced, standing up. "According to coalition law, no member world can be transferred to another species without their consent." Earth never consented. The legal experts in the assembly scrambled to check their records. To their horror, they discovered Hei-Wan was correct. In their eagerness to appease the Vaktar Empire, they had violated their own laws. Furthermore, Ye-Jin continued, Earth formally protests the classification of our world as a primitive agricultural colony. As you can see from recent events, this classification is clearly incorrect. Admiral Byung-ho watched the proceedings from his command ship near the Coalition Center. He commanded the Sol Defense Perimeter, a network of hidden bases throughout human space. His ships were ready to protect Earth's diplomats if the talks turned violent. "All stations report ready," his communications officer announced. "If the Coalition tries to attack our diplomats, we can have 1,000 ships here in 10 minutes. But Admiral Byung-ho didn't think violence would be necessary. The Coalition was too shocked and frightened to attack Earth directly. Instead, they would try to negotiate, hoping to avoid making humanity an enemy. Dr. Young-Soo, head of human xenopsychology, had predicted this reaction perfectly. He had studied alien psychology for decades, learning how different species responded to threats and opportunities. "Fear will make them cautious," he had told the diplomatic team, "but greed will make them eager to trade. Every species will want human technology and protection." His prediction proved accurate within hours. As news of Earth's military power spread throughout the galaxy, ambassadors began approaching Ye-Jin with offers of trade agreements, defense pacts, and technology exchanges. "The Sechin Republic offers exclusive mining rights to rare minerals," whispered Ambassador Kulneth. "In exchange for protection from pirates. The Avian Collective has the best communication networks in the galaxy," chirped Ambassador Skyweaver. "We could share our relay technology for human shield generators." "The Deep Dwellers control 17 major trade routes," rumbled Ambassador Stoneheart. "Perhaps we could discuss mutual assistance?" Ye-Jin listened politely to each offer but made no commitments. Earth's negotiating position was simple. They wanted respect, equality, and an end to the practice of stronger species bullying weaker ones. Captain Jae-sung had spent decades mapping coalition space and studying alien civilizations. His intelligence network was more complete than anything the coalition's own agencies had compiled. He knew which species were allied, which were enemies, and which could be turned against each other. "The hegemony fears the Vaktar expansion," he reported to Earth's leadership. "The Trading Guild wants protection from both. The nomad clans just want to be left alone. We can use these divisions to reshape galactic politics." Meanwhile, the surviving Vaktar prisoners were learning hard lessons about human capabilities. Dr. Yunji allowed them to recover from the nanobots, but made sure they understood how easily they could be killed. "Your biology is an open book to us," she explained to Battle Commodore Thexra. "We know exactly which toxins kill Vaktar, which frequencies disrupt your nervous system, and which environments are lethal to your species. We also know how to cure all of these effects." Thexra stared at the human scientist with new respect and fear. "You studied us for 50 years just to learn how to kill us?" "We studied everyone," Dr. Yunji replied. Vactars, Epherians, crystalline, deep dwellers, all of them. We know every species' strengths and weaknesses, but we prefer healing to killing. That's why you're still alive. The implications terrified the Coalition. If humans knew every species' biological and technological weaknesses, no one was safe from Earth's weapons. But if humans preferred healing to killing, perhaps they could be negotiated with. Ambassador Ye-Jin received her most important visitor on the 4th day after the battle. The Keeper of Ancient Laws, a mysterious being older than most civilizations, approached her with an offer that could change the galaxy. "Young human," the Keeper said, its voice echoing with the wisdom of millennia, "your species has shown remarkable patience and planning. We wish to discuss a new arrangement for the Coalition." "What kind of arrangement?" Ye-Jin asked. "One where strength serves justice, not greed. Where advanced species protect developing ones instead of exploiting them. Where the Coalition becomes what it was meant to be. A true alliance of equals." Ye-Jin smiled. This was exactly what Earth wanted to hear. "Tell me more." Within a week, the Galactic Coalition was in chaos. Species that had relied on exploiting weaker worlds suddenly faced the possibility of human intervention. Pirates and slavers found their hunting grounds patrolled by invisible human ships. Corrupt governments discovered that their secret activities were being recorded by human intelligence networks. "We're not conquerors," Admiral Hyunwoo announced in a message broadcast throughout the galaxy. "We're peacekeepers. Any species that preys on the weak will answer to the Earth Defense Force." The transformation was swift and dramatic. Trade became more fair when backed by human enforcement. Weak species gained protection under human shields. Aggressive empires found their expansion plans blocked by human intervention. But the most important change was in how the galaxy viewed humanity. No longer were they seen as primitive farmers. Now they were recognized as the most advanced and powerful species in known space. "How did we miss this?" asked Ambassador Krikstal, his earlier arrogance replaced by nervous respect. "How did an entire species fool us for 50 years? Ye-Jin's answer was simple and terrifying. "You underestimated us because you wanted to. You saw what you expected to see, not what was really there. You mistook patience for weakness and planning for primitiveness." As the implications sank in, the Coalition realized they faced a new reality. Earth was no longer a victim to be exploited or protected. Humanity had become the galaxy's new dominant power, and they were just beginning to flex their muscles. The question now was, what would they do with that power? 6 months after the defeat of the Vactar invasion fleet, the galaxy had transformed completely. The Galactic Coalition Center, once a place where strong species bullied weak ones, now echoed with genuine debates about justice and equality. Prime Minister Kyung-soo stood before the assembled representatives of 847 worlds. As Earth's new head of government, he carried the authority of the galaxy's most powerful military force. But instead of threats, he offered something the Coalition had never seen before: true partnership. "We propose a new charter for the Galactic Coalition," he announced. "One based on mutual respect rather than fear. One where every species, regardless of technology or military strength, has an equal voice in galactic affairs." The hall was silent. Many ambassadors remembered when humans were dismissed as primitive farmers. Now those same humans were offering to share power with species they could easily conquer. Ambassador Ye-Jin stepped forward, carrying the proposed charter. "Under this new system, no species may be annexed, enslaved, or exploited by another. All trade must be conducted fairly. All conflicts must be resolved through negotiation, not force." "And if someone breaks these rules?" asked Ambassador Krikstal. His species had given up their practice of raiding weaker worlds after human ships began patrolling their territory. Fleet Admiral In-Soo answered from his position near the human delegation. He commanded humanity's expeditionary forces, thousands of ships stationed throughout the galaxy. Then they answered to the Earth Defense Force. "We have ships in every sector, bases on every trade route, and agents in every major government." The threat was polite but clear. Humanity had the power to enforce their new rules, and they would use it if necessary. Counselor Ji-Hai took her seat at the new Coalition Council. As Earth's representative on the governing body, she would help guide galactic policy for the first time in centuries. Her background in interspecies law made her perfect for the job. "The first order of business," she announced, "is the abolition of the Primitive World Protection Program." No species will be classified as primitive or placed under another's protection without their explicit consent. The vote was unanimous. No one wanted to be the species that opposed Earth's first official proposal, but humanity's influence extended far beyond the Coalition Center. Captain Meekyung now commanded the Rim Patrol, a fleet that protected the galaxy's outer edges from pirates and raiders. Her ships were faster and better armed than any criminal vessel, making space travel safer for everyone. Pirate activity in Sector 7 has dropped to zero, she reported during a meeting with Galactic security chiefs. Word has spread that attacking merchant ships means facing human retaliation. Most pirate fleets have disbanded or become legitimate security companies. Admiral Sung Ho led the Core World's defense initiative, protecting the galaxy's most important planets from external threats. His fleets were stationed near major population centers, ready to respond to any crisis within hours. The Zephyrian homeworld faced a potential asteroid strike last week, he reported. Our ships diverted the asteroid and helped evacuate threatened areas. No lives were lost. These acts of protection and assistance were changing how alien species viewed humanity. Instead of conquerors or overlords, humans were becoming seen as guardians and protectors. Dr. Yoonji had transformed her biological weapons research into medical assistance. Her knowledge of alien biology, originally intended for warfare, now helped cure diseases and extend lifespans across multiple species. The plague affecting the crystal worlds has been contained, she announced. Our medical teams developed a cure using knowledge of crystalline biology. We're sharing the formula with all Coalition medical facilities. Engineer Taemin's quantum drive technology was being adapted for peaceful purposes. Instead of powering weapons, his innovations now enabled faster communication, improved transportation, and more efficient resource distribution. Trade routes that once took months to travel can now be completed in days, he reported. This is reducing costs and improving living standards throughout the galaxy. But perhaps the most important change was in how weaker species viewed their place in the galaxy. For centuries, developing civilizations had lived in fear of being conquered or enslaved by more advanced neighbors. Now they had protection. The Meadow People, a peaceful agricultural species similar to what Earth had pretended to be, were among the first to benefit from humanity's protection. When the Ironclaw Empire attempted to annex their world, human ships arrived within hours. You have 30 seconds to withdraw from Meadow Space, Captain So Young warned the Ironclaw fleet. Her stealth ship Silent Wind had destroyed their flagship's engines before they even knew she was there. The Ironclaw fleet retreated immediately. Word spread quickly that humans protected peaceful species with the same efficiency they destroyed aggressive ones. Within 2 years, the galaxy was more peaceful than it had been in centuries. Trade flourished under human protection. Scientific cooperation increased as species shared knowledge without fear of exploitation. Art and culture blossomed as civilizations felt safe to express themselves. Crime rates have dropped 70%, reported Commander Wu Jin, who now headed Galactic Law Enforcement Coordination. When criminals know they might face human justice, most choose legal alternatives. But the most significant development came when dozens of previously primitive worlds revealed their own hidden capabilities. Inspired by Earth's example, species throughout the galaxy began admitting to technologies and abilities they had kept secret for protection. The Singing Stones of Harmony 7 aren't just religious artifacts, admitted their ambassador during a coalition meeting. They're actually a planet-wide communication network more advanced than anything we've seen. The forest dwellers have been hiding their biotechnology for centuries, revealed another representative. Their tree cities are actually living computers that can process data faster than any artificial system. We've been monitoring galactic communications for 300 years, confessed the representative from the quiet moons. We know more about interstellar politics than the coalition's own intelligence services. Each revelation changed the galaxy's understanding of itself. Species that had been dismissed as primitive or weak turned out to have remarkable capabilities. The galaxy was far more diverse and advanced than anyone had realized. Admiral Hyunwoo, now Supreme Commander of Human Space Forces, watched these developments with satisfaction. 50 years of patience, he said during a private meeting with Earth's leadership. 50 years of planning and preparation. It was worth every moment. President Jin-A, who had played her role perfectly during the crisis, smiled as she reviewed reports from across the galaxy. We've achieved something remarkable. Not conquest, but genuine peace. Not domination, but cooperation. But the greatest surprise came during a routine deep space patrol. Captain Jae-sung, exploring the galaxy's outer rim, discovered something that changed everything. "Admiral," he reported, his voice tense with excitement and fear. "You need to see this." The discovery was a derelict space station, clearly ancient and built by a technology far more advanced than anything in the galaxy. Inside, Dr. Yoonji found records that told a chilling story. "This station is over 10,000 years old," she reported. "It was built by a species that called themselves the Watchers. According to their records, they came from beyond our galaxy. The records revealed that the Watchers had visited the galaxy long ago, studying the various species and leaving warnings. They spoke of a great threat from the space between galaxies, something they called the Devourers. The Watchers left this galaxy to face the Devourers," Dr. Yoonji continued. "Their final message warns that the threat will return. They estimate it will arrive in our galaxy within the next 50 years. The discovery put humanity's achievements in a new perspective. Their military buildup, their careful planning, their creation of a united galaxy. It had all been preparation for a threat they didn't even know existed. The ancient visitors to Earth," Admiral Hunwoo realized. "They weren't just explorers. They were watchers, leaving us clues about what was coming." Counselor Ji-hai brought the discovery to the Coalition Council. For the first time in galactic history, every species worked together toward a common goal, preparing for the return of the Devourers. "We have 50 years to unite the galaxy completely," she announced. 50 years to combine our technologies, our knowledge, and our strength. Humanity has shown that cooperation and preparation can overcome any challenge. Prime Minister Kyung-soo addressed the galaxy one final time as the coalition voted to create the United Galactic Defense Force. Humanity would lead it, but every species would contribute their unique abilities. "We are no longer separate civilizations competing for resources," he declared. "We are one galaxy, one people, facing a threat from beyond the stars. Together, we will show these Devourers what unity can accomplish." As human ships began patrolling the galaxy's outer edge, searching for signs of the approaching threat, Admiral Hyunwoo reflected on how far they had come. 50 years ago, Earth had been dismissed as a primitive world. Now humanity led a united galaxy preparing for the greatest challenge in cosmic history. The aliens had believed Earth would stay quiet and,